Hi there. My name's Casey Hutchinson. I'm the president of Empire Rubber and Supply, and this is my podcast, Belt Friends, where I get together with different folks in our industry to discuss belting and actually find out what it means to them and kind of share their story. So today, I have the pleasure of talking with Stephenie Davis, the president and chief executive officer of Davis Industrial, and NIBA second vice president and program committee chair. Welcome, Stephenie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate being here.
Yeah. Well, thanks for taking your time today. I appreciate it. I know you're a busy lady, but I was very much looking forward to this. I've talked to a lot of folks, and I haven't talked to another distributor. So we share in this industry, certainly, but we have different coasts spreading us apart. So we'll try not to step on each other's toes.
I don't think that should be too much of a difficulty there.
By the way, I'll be calling over there tomorrow.
Come on over. Hurricane Debbie's gone.
Okay. Well, let's start this off. Usually my first question is tell us about yourself, where you grew up, family, education, that sort of thing.
Sure. So I'm going to give you the Cliff's Notes version because it can get pretty long there. But so November of 2007, I was looking for an outside sales position, looking to get out in sales and see what I could do. And I knew a guy that was looking to hire in the belting industry. So I went and interviewed and got the job on the spot and showed up. I think it was the next day or the following Monday for work. And my boss said, "I'm not going to train you. You're just going to go figure it out and good luck." So kind of sat back and I was like, well, here I am, this young kid out of school, and I have no idea what conveyor belts do other than my local Publix grocery store. So, of course, I hit Google and I said, okay, what's a conveyor belt? What do they do? Who has them? And just started doing about, 3 or 4 days worth of research. And then finally by that Friday, I was like, wait a minute, I was hired for outside sales. I better go do that outside sales job before I don't have it anymore. So I just started hitting the ground running. I knew that Cemex ready mix facilities had conveyors, and that was pretty much all I knew. And I knew that we went and installed and spliced conveyor belts. And so I just started calling on plants one after one after one and saying, hey, I'm new to the industry. I promise I'll get there. I promise I'll learn it. Our company does all these things. Can we help you out? And can you share your story with me? And tell me how you've come up in the industry and teach me what you know. And it worked. I was able to learn pretty quickly by talking to people within the industry, boots on the ground, that kind of thing, researching at night. And a couple of months later, my boss at the time that told me he wasn't going to train me told me that he was going to buy the company one day. And I just kind of laughed and went about my day. And I said, wait a minute, if he could buy it, maybe I could. So I went and approached the owner, and it was quietly up for sale. And I said, hey, I'm looking to purchase this company. I saw that there was a lot of potential in the industry, but the company could use a bit more direction, I guess, and a little more involvement. So I just made a deal with them at the time and started writing the business plan for the SBA and the bank. And that was that. It was a long road after that. That was January of 2008. Took me about a month or so to write the business plan. SBA took it on first draft. I was surprised. Wow. The bank took several more renditions to figure out what the conveyor industry was first and foremost, but then to figure out how I at a young age was going to make this happen. So all said and done, August of 2008, I closed on the company, and then the recession was in the midst of hitting right that second. But yeah, we've come a long way. We started with 3 people at the time, just the one location in Tampa. Now we've got a location in Tampa, one in Miami, one soon to be in North Florida, and about 50 people right now. So we're growing strong, and yeah, it's been an interesting ride to get here.
Oh my goodness. Well, that was going to be my next question, is how you got into the belt industry, and you certainly answered that. Your story impresses me because belt's a hard sell to a lot of people, let alone to run out and sell it without knowing anything from anyone. That's crazy. But yeah, to take it on. And so when you took on that business, you inherited who was already there on staff. There were the 3 people, and that was it?
The 3 people, including my boss.
Okay.
Yes. So I was 21 at the time when we closed. I had done some things in my prior life, kind of, left high school early, went into college, decided I wanted life experience, went back, got into the business world, and later went and finished my degree. But yeah, when we closed, it was, just three of us, my old boss, and just trying to figure out what, still at that time, I hadn't even been a year yet in the industry. So trying to figure out, what conveyors did. My parents had no industry experience. My dad was in the military and my mom worked government service for the military. So I grew up overseas mostly, and certainly didn't have any dealings with aggregates or mining or food and beverage package handling, anything like that. They don't teach you that stuff in school. So it was a lot of trial by fire, and sleepless nights and crying over payroll and all the things back in the day. But yeah, it's been, like I said, it's been a wild ride. Learned a lot along the way, both good and bad, for sure.
I can only imagine. Congrats. This is your grad school. This is basically what you took.
It is, like I said, trial by fire. You just learn a little bit along the way and figure out what not to do a lot of times in order to figure out what to do.
Had you done sales before? I'm sorry.
No. I was just going to say, surround yourself with good people. We wouldn't be here today if it weren't for the team that we have put together. No, so, being 18, 20 years old, out of school, I was going to school and working, and mostly in like administrative positions, a little bit in like land development and things like that, but never done sales before, especially in our industry. But it's just, it kind of captivated me. I couldn't see myself, out there selling cars or makeup or pharmaceuticals or anything like that. I really like getting out there and seeing how things are made, and talking to the people that are in the day to day. I can remember going back probably a month or two in, just out there making sales calls. And I was calling on an aggregate quarry one morning, and then the afternoon I was calling on a kitty litter plant, and realized that they were the same company and the two were interconnected. And I was like, I just saw those trucks this morning. So, just seeing how things are made is just fascinating to me, and the things that people have come up with to make our industry turn, and just how vital we are to the rest of the world, really. Just making sure that products are moving, people are getting where they need to be, and, we're lucky enough to be a part of it. And,
very well stated. I always throw it out. I say that everything you purchase has been conveyed at one point or another. So we're definitely, it's very niche, but I like what you're saying, because if you have a forensic mind or are very interested in how it's made, how the wheel turns, so to speak, you can crawl into this and find out. And you were doing the right thing in the beginning when you talked to these guys who are in charge of making sure this conveyor is pumping out product all day. They'll tell you their story. They'll tell you how that system works and their marriage to it, and why it doesn't work right when I'm doing this, or what it would help if they could just improve this. And you listen to all that, it becomes very helpful in your pursuit of how to better help everybody along the way. Right.
What have you tried? What haven't you tried?
Yeah.
And being able to get out there and give solutions. That's kind of our go-to-market. And I'd like to learn more about what you guys say and do out there in the field. But really, it's about the solutions for us. It's, we're not the guys that are going to put a Band-Aid on something just to get you by. If you have to get up and running, we'll do what we have to do in the time frame. But we're not what's your part number? Let me look that up for you. It's hang on, we'll be right there, and we're going to measure it ourselves, and we're going to come up with the right solution so that you don't have this problem going forward. So at least that's the attempt. Doesn't always work that way. But.
Well, no, I applaud that behavior, though. A lot of our advertisement is boots on the ground, and a lot of our immediate help is boots on the ground. You can do your best over the phone to try to help resolve their situation and things like that, but showing up, getting in, getting dirty, getting it figured out so that you are armed with the best solution when your crew gets out there. That's everything for my business as well. So I totally can appreciate that. What industries? You mentioned you mentioned cat food, and you mentioned Cemex. I know they turn out a great deal of cement. What else does Davis Industries handle?
So we run the gamut. So we're heavily involved in aggregate and like building construction products, concrete, block, asphalt, those kinds of things. But we've got a lightweight division, which we really started focusing on more last year, to really break into food, beverage, distribution. But basically, you name it, if it's got a conveyor belt attached to it, like we want to be a part of it. I want to see how it's made, and we want to help them get whatever they have to wherever it needs to go.
Very
It's
cool.
been, I would say I gravitate towards aggregates just because, making big rocks into little rocks. I mean, what's more fun than that? But when you get into these distribution centers and you see all the logistics that goes into some of these sortation facilities and, of course, Amazon and all those guys, it's pretty wild, pretty incredible to see all those gears in motion and be able to solve a problem from time to time.
Well, and those businesses are getting more and more prolific, and really specialty when you dial into. You think of having to handle heavy rock and the engineering behind that belt required for that and stuff. It's I don't want to say it's easy, but it's easier in regards to turning the table and going to a light duty belt in a bakery perhaps, or needing some release characteristics. It gets a lot more involved with what that belt has to do versus, I'm going to diss on rock a little bit, but say just bouncing a rock, so to speak,
Right. We always say in heavyweight, like, that'll work, like it's within a margin of error there. But lightweight it's finicky, right? You've got to have the exact right belt for the right application. I can remember my very first lightweight mistake, going into a plant that was producing doors, like wood doors. And after it was painted, it had to go, through the booth to dry it. And of course, that's high temp. And I sold them the wrong belt 3 times before I figured out the right belt. Yeah, of course, we ate it and I chalked it up to lessons learned. There was a lot of those, like I said, over the years, but you just, figure out what the right thing is and figure out who the right people are around you to call on. So, I was calling supplier after supplier to figure out, like, what am I doing wrong? And finally one day it just clicked. Somebody said Teflon, like you need either, like a fiberglass belt out there. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing, but here we are, and it's still running. So all is
we
well.
learn from we learn from our greatest mistakes, don't we?
We do, and they stick with you. They stick
Oh
with
my
you.
gosh, yeah. Don't tally the dollars along the way, but they're there.
No good can come from that.
No. So obviously your work goes beyond just belting. I mean, you guys aren't just strictly belt installation?
Correct. Yeah. So when we started out, when I first bought the company, it was purely belt installation. We didn't even have inventory to sell. So then, little by little, as profits started coming in, we started reinvesting into inventory, putting belt on the ground, and then additional conveyor components. And then 2013, we opened up a full fabrication shop. So we build conveyor systems, lightweight, heavyweight. Hoppers, catwalks. We do a lot of break fix, repair, maintain, welding repairs, a lot of mechanical maintenance work as well. But yeah, it's, belting, belt splicing is still the core of our business, but it's definitely morphed into just about anything that you need out there in terms of maintenance. We even do work, like I said, bucket elevators, screw conveyors, dust collectors, and most of that is born out of just a need at the end user level, right? So we're out there, boots on the ground, developing these relationships, and you become that trusted advisor to your customer, and you start asking questions like, what else do you need in your plant that you're not getting good service on now? And that's where you learn a lot, but it's also, where you come to, start doing work in, like I said, dust collection. Didn't know what a dust collector was before a customer came to me and said, hey, I need this, this, and this. And so, we sourced the products with the right manufacturers and figured out how to do the installations. And that stuff happens all the time. A lot of times we turn it down. The reps come to me with something, or to our salespeople, and comes to somebody and says, hey, like, can we do this? And sometimes we take a shot at it, and sometimes we're like, no, that's way, way out of our league. So.
Yeah, you don't want to get over your head on some of those. That's fascinating to me. I mean, where we service just primarily conveyor belting. We will weld a few things here and there, but We haven't been much in fabrication throughout my career or throughout my family's ownership of Empire. So our involvement with conveyor belting is most of the time strictly the belting, but we get involved with some of the turning components, but we're full service as far as preparation in the house and running out into the field and installing it, after hour services and that sort of thing. That's kind of how we've shined. But yeah, no, I that intrigues me, because to ask, I think in one of my prior interviews, somebody spoke to working with conveyor belting and splicing. If you can, learn to do that, you can, you really can find a job anywhere. And being able to do that and then turn around and work with some dust collecting device and that sort of thing, you're really developing some jacks of all trade.
It really is so there's a lot of different skill sets within, the people that can, I'm not good at a lot of things, just, like most people. So we find that the technicians that are really good at belting and really want to learn more and excel at that are not necessarily the guys that want to go, draw something up and design it, weld it, and build it. Very different creative mentalities. But yeah, so we've got kind of the jack of all trade people that can go out and do any of it, and then some people just want to focus on one niche or the other. But I'm a big fan of diversity. Like I said, I bought the business in 2008. It was great because it enabled us to kind of grow slowly and strategically and kind of hopefully figure out the right way to do things. But yeah, we added little bits here and there and just tried to see what works. So I encourage you, you never know what might be a new avenue for you. Dust collection's not really a tough one, so I can get you in touch with the right people. And it goes kind of hand in hand. You're already there in the plants, and that was kind of what drew me to that kind of stuff, is really just touching base with the end user and figuring out where else you could be of service.
Yeah. I can appreciate that. Growth, while you speak to that, trying to keep that acceleration just right without taking off too much, here you're about to open a third location. Does it feel at times this is too fast, or are you guys have a firm hold on the wheel as far as how this is going so far?
So my primary focus is making sure that we're a healthy company, both, obviously fiscally healthy, but also culturally. We've gone through the gamut of the right people and the wrong people on the bus. And I can tell you hands down, every day of the week, I'd rather grow slowly with the right people than, get on a fast path somewhere with the wrong people. So that's what I look for is making sure that we've got the right people in the right places to grow strategically. So far, all the growth that we've done has been organic. So, as a small business owner yourself, you understand the parameters that's set within. But yeah, I wouldn't say that any time it's felt too fast or too slow. I can tell you in the beginning, it was very stressful. Closing on a business with, spending all your money on the money down. So there wasn't really any working capital, no money coming in to speak of, because, the recession hit and it hit hard. So it was pinching pennies for a very long time. But, one day the tables kind of turned, and, we must have done something right along the way, because we're still here. We're celebrating 16 years in 2 weeks, I think. So,
congrats.
Yeah, it's exciting. Like I said, just making sure we've got the right people to do it the right way. We've got amazing people here in our Tampa branch. Our Miami branch manager is, no offense to any branch managers out there ever, but probably the best you've ever seen. So, just like I said, making sure that you've got the right people. We wouldn't be where we are today without them. So.
Amen. I can speak to that. I wouldn't want to put all the hats on. I need to hand some of those off and with trusted individuals that are going to work in my best interest, whether I have a say in the matter of certain situations or not, or God forbid we should take a vacation or be off the grid or something like that. Having the right people has really been everything for me throughout my career, to learn from, to trust in. I could not do it without them. Right.
What would you say was the thing that you wanted to get off your plate or needed to get off your plate the most? Because I find that when you find the thing that might be kind of weighing you down, it kind of frees you up a little bit.
Yeah, I guess it's a difficult one because that hat always keeps creeping back. I'm a salesman. I've just always been a salesman, no matter what I'm doing, and we have some shortages in staff and that sort of thing. So I love being able to plop down in one of the chairs on the order desk and help that crew out, and pick up the phone directly with a customer all over again. It's been rewarding to have that, but I can still feel that it's pulling away from other things that I need to focus on for the sake of the business. So it's very much a double-edged sword, and that was going on for a great deal of time, trying to manage the company from that same seat, so to speak. Years ago, I'd hired a wonderful lady who works in my order desk, and she worked her way up into managing it, and to have her take those reins from my hands and be able to take a step away was a huge change in my career, because I've been at it 29 years, and throughout that time, I've always worn the sales hat in some capacity. So it hasn't gone away. Maybe it's a smaller hat, or maybe it's just a visor at this point, but it as much as I try to run from it prudently, I still return to it, I guess, prudently as well. So I left a few things back on my second desk before coming over to do this interview with you. So I'm sure I'll step away again for a while, always to return. But yeah, good question. Very good question. Yeah. Thanks for turning the table too.
Yeah. I think it helps to, keep a finger on the pulse. I think, I was actually just talking to somebody about that earlier today. We just hired our very first sales manager for years and years. That was me, right? And I looked at myself one day and I said, there's got to be somebody out there better at this than you are. And there's other things that you should be doing with your day. So we hired our very first one. He started on Monday last week. And, I'm already like, I think we're done with training, like I was trained, right? You just go figure it out kind of thing. But we haven't thrown him quite to the wolves yet, but I'm, just trying to pull myself out of it and, get our people to go to him, and it'll be a process, I'm sure, but hopefully a rewarding one. I think we found the right fit there in the right seat, and hopefully it'll mean good things for us going forward.
Yeah, still pretty fresh. We'll have to keep tabs on that one and how that goes for you. Right. Let go of the hat, Stephenie.
Yes. Yeah. Take a step back.
Well, I do a little bit of research, as well as I should, because I wanted to show some proper respect for what you've developed, you and your company. I didn't crawl in too deeply because I didn't need to, and I'm trying to say this very positively. In our industry, a brand is kind of a new term for most, and like, I guess I could speak to it in doing a podcast to speak what Empire Rubber gets out of this to some degree. But I see that of your company. You have a very good footprint through social media, through a lot of new outlets and things like that fascinates me. That's why I bring it up. I'm fascinated when I go to your website. Very clean, very, very good representation of your business, but of our industry too. And that's what I take from it. What does that mean to you, and what you're trying to establish with your company in this modern era, in taking advantage of those tools?
Yeah, I look at marketing as it's a tool, right? So you can only have so many boots on the ground, driving from job site to job site and trying to flip over rocks. So the more that we can leverage the internet to help us do what we need to do, get the brand out there, get the word out there, the better off we're going to be in the long run. I would say that 8 years ago, when we really started focusing on social media, we were the foremost, like the front runner out there. There was nobody doing what we were doing, and it was great. And since then, the world has caught on, and you just have to keep figuring out what's next, reinventing yourself. That's really kind of my MO to begin with. Is there's always something to be learned from yesterday, and we're not judging ourselves against everybody else. We're judging ourselves against ourselves. Are we better than we were yesterday? Are we continuing to push ourselves and the industry forward? So quick side note to the marketing thing. My husband works in the business. His name's Alex. He handles all of our marketing. He's our marketing manager. So everything from the swag that you see out there, hats, all that kind of stuff, to the website that we just redesigned, all the social media, that's all him. Who I told I was never going to hire when I first met him back in 2016. Yeah, I was at a Tampa Bay Lightning game. We had bought tickets for the company, and I had happened to meet him that evening. And we really haven't been apart since. And within like the first year, I would swear to you, like every week, I'd be like, I'm never going to hire you. You're never going to work for me. We're not going to work together. We're going to have our own separate careers. Like that's not going to happen. And then it was like, seriously, it was like October of 17 when I was like, hey, so I just let go of our outsourced marketing company and realized that I could hire somebody internally for the same cost. You're already kind of doing that for the Lightning. What do you think? And he's like, you said you would never hire me. And I was like, well, I was wrong. Once again, I was wrong. So funny story, actually. He told me, he's like, is this 7 years already? Because he got a little notification through our HR platform that it's coming up. So yeah, he's he wasn't a web developer or anything, but has an eye for creativity and art. His mom's a really, really good artist. Actually, if you see that painting up above me, she painted that. She's just amazing.
Oh, wow.
So he's got some definite creativity in his blood, and just kind of that same mentality that I do is we've got to beat what we did yesterday. That's just kind of how we look at it, and really furthering the industry, because I don't know about you, but finding people that are interested in this industry down here or up there is probably not very easy up there either, right? So I think the sexier you can make it, the more people we're going to get attracted to the industry. It's not all indoors and air conditioning, but there's some really good lives to be led, some really good careers to be had if you get involved. So just trying to make it look good, make it look fun, because it's really hard work, but it's also a lot of fun. So that's kind of our MO with marketing, is just get out there and see what the brand can do, and see how we can help push the industry forward.
Well, you're doing it well. He's helping you to do it well too, and like I said, it's very well placed, very, very well put out there, and I love trying to make this industry sexy. I love what we do. It's very rewarding, and maybe you can speak to that reward as being a business owner, because when you get the right people and you get to help move them along and see their successes, get away from the business, and when they're going home and they're having that success wear on them, that means so much to me, to watch people develop like that. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, when you talk about new branches and growth and things like that, that's not, it's a dream for me. But the motivator behind it is our people, right? So if we just stayed at, 30 people in the Tampa branch, where did those 30 people go 5 years from now, 10 years from now? Not everybody's a lifer in their current position. Not everybody wants to be. So we really looked at that when we looked at growth for Miami. Was, okay, if we move into Miami, then, people from Tampa that want to move to Miami could move there. We could provide jobs for people down there. We've got a lot of remote workers now. So, as the business evolves and grows, we have this need for more and more positions. 10 years ago, we didn't have a warehouse manager, but we do now, because, we've got enough work going in and out of the warehouse on a day-to-day basis that we had to put somebody in that position. Same thing with a sales manager. Prior to this year, we probably didn't need one, but, we're getting to that point to where we can, start promoting from within. One of our inside sales / admin people, she's been with us for about 8 years now. And she started as an admin with us and worked into customer service, then inside sales, outside sales, back to inside sales. So just really giving them kind of a ladder, or ladder is probably the wrong term these days, but just some monkey bars to swing on, I guess. As we go to grow into North Florida, that's really one of our technicians really wanted to be a part of the growth of the branch up there and really work his way into service management. So he's up there doing sales in the area, trying to build the business. What better way to be a service manager than to understand the sales process and what the sales reps go through on a day-to-day basis to try and win this business that, operations has to go execute. So we're really just, laying the groundwork for people to grow their lives and grow their careers. And, I've seen a lot of our employees with families and kids that have grown up. And I'm like, I remember you when you were this big, you know. I can't believe the inside salesperson I was talking about, her son's he's going to be a sophomore this year. I'm like, I remember, when he was just a little guy running around at our Davis Industrial picnics at the end of the year, throwing a football and all that kind of stuff. So it's a lot of fun. I think one of the things that I would have told myself way back then, in the beginning days, was it's really about the people. At the end of the day, it's not about the sales, it's not about the business growth, it's all about the people. And like I said earlier, finding the right people that you want to have on your team and work side by side with every day, and really seeing them grow it's pretty amazing. It's a lot of fun.
I'm glad they got you. That's if you're doing it right, they want to do right by you, just obviously as you're spilling in this, that you're out to do that for them. That's you're in symbiance with one another, so to speak, in that regard. But no, it's awesome to sit back and watch too, because you'll see it as time goes on. It'll really blow you away, to see the successes of others, that you had a definite key piece of fostering for them. So good for you.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure after 29 years, you've seen a lot of that, right? And whether they stay or their career path takes them further and further. I don't know if you can speak to that.
Yeah.
What is it like if you have to wish somebody, even if it might not be a trajectory within your own organization?
Well, to speak to your question, Stephenie, I guess, again, what you'll learn as it keeps going on, there were a lot of individuals that I learned from and grew under that made their way to the gold watch, so to speak, that I got to watch retire and that sort of thing. And that was, it's hard. And it's probably why I'm spawned into this podcast, because as I've spoken with some of the elder statesmen who I've sat down with from our industry that you and I both rub elbows with, I've had my own from Empire Rubber that have retired, and I'm grateful for them to see their way into retirement, and they've earned the right. Go retire and enjoy that for yourself. But I miss them. I miss people that have been the true story behind our industry of learning while it was there to learn. And not to say it doesn't evolve and there's something else to learn, but all the stories and things that you and I've spoken about, trials and tribulations of learning from your failings and things like that, they were just always so much to feed off of before I'd go stumbling into the same mistakes myself. And I still made my own mistakes. I'm quite capable of doing that. I'm going to do that tomorrow, and I'll learn from it. But I miss them because when it's done right, and Empire Rubber has done a lot right, that I get to, know a lot of my employees on a very personal level along the way. These guys were like uncles to me. And, I haven't thrown them away, certainly. I still got a round of golf in with one of them a couple weeks ago, because they've just been tremendous forces in my life. And now I watch people growing around me that have been doing it a long time and sharing the trenches, and we have the same war stories to share. I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's not always easy. It'll never be easy. I wouldn't show up if it was easy, but it still has its rewards, even the hardest of days when you just want to get out the door. But you're going to come back because you have the right people to fight with. And if you keep establishing that culture just right, you're guaranteed to watch these people go off to their gold watches too, Stephenie. So it's fun to hear that from you, learning a few steps behind me. And I'm still learning. I'm always going to be learning. That's what I love about our industry. It's like whether you're dealing with people and their learnings through it, if you do like how the wheel turns and get fascinated with things, every time I see a conveyor belt, I'm a nerd. I do. It is sexy to me.
Me too.
It's, ooh, what are you doing? And and yep. I hear that from my employee base too, that they're like, oh, I saw this or I did this, and and it was on a weekend, and why did you stop and look at that? Well, because, and it's fun that we all kind of have that ride to share, and it's definitely a unique one, but figured it had to be told. We can't be the only cool cats keeping this secret. We got to get it out there in the world and talk shop. It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
I agree. We got to share it. I wanted to ask you, if you don't mind. So you're third generation, correct?
I am.
Third generation.
Yeah, my grandfather started in 1951, Fred Hutchinson. And he left a prominent belt house, but he didn't like the way they were conducting business. He didn't, he was out representing them the best of his abilities, but things were falling flat because of their ineptitude. And if he was going to go out and represent his own name, he wanted to do it his own way. And, there were a lot of learnings along the way. And then when my father was of the right age, he got wooed into it and did it for 56 years himself and grew up in this industry and developed a name for himself. And the pressure's off me because it's supposed to fall down to the second generation. So
it's smooth sailing from here on out.
I can just screw it all up. No, but no, in that vein, it's been tremendously rewarding for me as well because I got to work with my dad, and now that doesn't always work, so to speak.
Right.
But I keep coming back to the well for more medicine, even in his retirement, because he was a good ambassador for our area and our industry, and tremendous mentor for me too. So, thanks for asking.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So, are you an only child?
No, I got a brother who's 3 years younger than me. He got rubber under his nails for a bit, but he found a way to run away from it. Anyone you talk to in this industry, I'm sure you've run into enough of them.
Stuck.
They get it under. You're stuck.
You're stuck.
It's
You're not
rubber.
going
We're
anywhere.
bouncing right back. Exactly.
Yep.
But it was in his heart to always be a police officer. So he works. He's made up to sergeant. I'm very proud of him. He's got to be of a different build to go face the worst of the worst sometimes and be the one running in while everyone's running out. So, I'm very proud of him.
So you have young children. Is there going to be a fourth generation?
Man, you're turning this on me.
I know.
I told you you can ask me a few. I asked for this. This is fair. This is fair play. I have 2 children. I have a 18-year-old daughter who just graduated from high school. And then I've got a son who's going to be going into his sophomore year of high school. And it's that's rewarding too, that, doing what I've done has given me a family too. So, I'm doing this for them.
Right.
Well, I'm turning back. It's my turn.
Okay.
I'm
ready.
grabbing the. Okay.
I'm ready.
NIBA.
NIBA.
What you are involved in NIBA, and I've talked about NIBA many times on this podcast. I'm going to define the acronym for those who are just tuning into. Perhaps this is their first podcast, but the National Industrial Belting Association, of which I'm a part of too. You've climbed a few rungs there. You're part of the program committee. Would you care to speak to that?
Yeah. So I first got involved with NIBA back in 2012, and God rest his soul, the late great Mike Cremines, who was like a mentor to me if I ever had one. I first met him. He was coming to take a look at our vulcanizers and teach us about vulcanizing way back in the day, and his knowledge of just everything nerdy about conveyor belt that you ever wanted to know, like he knew it all. And I was like, man, I just want to absorb this knowledge from him. And I guess I skipped a couple of paths with NIBA as well. So I didn't just start going to the convention. I actually was recruited by Mike to be on a committee my very first NIBA.
Wow.
So I was on the Education and Technical Committee my very first time, and I don't even know how old I was in 2012, but not very old. And just ready to soak up any knowledge from this committee. I'm like, wow, how great is this? All this room full of people who've been in the industry forever, this is going to be great. And they looked at me and they said, can you be the scribe? And I was like, I will do anything you want me to do. I don't care. Like, absolutely. You want me to stack the chairs afterwards? I don't care. Just teach me things. I was the scribe for a couple of years before we changed association management companies and they brought in their own. But I was able to just go through all the documents and learn everything I possibly could, get involved in some of the trainings and things like that. I think I I skipped the part where they kick you off committee, and then you have to wait a year to bring it back, because I was on committee for maybe, I don't know, 6 years or so, before I did end up taking about a year break. And then I got called one day by Mike Francis, and he asked me to join the executive committee. I'm sorry, he asked me to join back on committees and be a committee chair for the education and technical committee. So I humbly accepted that. I was not sure that I was ready for it, but it was a great experience. Having done what I do for a long time, it's all about people. And really, NIBA is all about giving back to its membership. So, and a lot of that is through that committee, right? All the technical seminars and the certification courses and all that committee is responsible for putting together all that data and putting on all those presentations and things. So I was able to help put a lot of that together, and really proud of the work we did. The certification courses are great. You can go online just at your leisure and learn all sorts of things that you didn't already know from industry experts that have been doing it for 50, 60 years. And then just a couple of years later, 2020, actually during COVID, I think I got the call to step up to the big leagues and join the executive committee. So
wow.
That was just a couple of years ago, and started off not knowing what I was doing, but went to a couple of board meetings, and it's such a good group of people, right? Like I said, everybody that's been in the industry from 2 days to 20 years, 50 years, and just surrounding myself with all of those people has been a great experience. And then this year being program chair, how would I describe that? A lot of fun, a lot of work.
Okay.
We're in the midst of doing a lot of the last minute planning. If you didn't know, we're 34 days out from NIBA starting.
It's coming.
Yeah, Tucson this year. It's a great resort. It'll be a lot of fun. Golf course right on site. Lazy river, all those things. Got a lot of cool. I want to call them parties, business meetings planned, networking meetings. Yes. A lot of that planned. And so, it's, like I said, a lot of fun, a lot of work. We're going through the expo this week just to figure out who can be positioned next to each other and who shouldn't, and making sure everybody gets their ideal spot. So it's, like I said, it's a lot of fun.
Thank you for that energy. Being a member, all that's going on, and I'm just fortunate to go step into it and walk through it. But you're speaking to it. I can only imagine what's involved to make sure all that goes off without a hitch. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Happy to do it. And honestly, I have to give a shout out to the AMPed staff, like the NIBA staff company. They are amazing. Like, they do a great job. They make us look good. I know I'm program committee chair, but Amanda really handles all the heavy lifting for us. So they do a great job. But if you want to be on a committee, you just let me know. I'll be happy to.
I'd like to talk about that. You're not the only one in my ear. The Smith family's been in my ear, and it seems like anyone named Smith, even Paul Smith's been on me about that. So we're going to talk, Stephenie. I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Maybe.
Jimmy
You're
just
kind of scaring me in the same talk, though.
Oh, no. No. It is well worth the investment in time. I tell everybody about NIBA and just associations in general. We were talking a little bit earlier about PTDA, NIBA. As with anything in life, but especially organizations like that, volunteer organizations, the more you put in, the more you get out of it. So if you really want to be involved and you want to make it work for you, you've got to be able to be willing to put in the work. And it's paid off for us, for sure.
Well, and you have a lot to offer this industry as well. That the obvious stands in what you've shared with me today. And I think that's what a lot of people probably miss, is certainly there's going to be something to go to NIBA, latch on to being a part of that. But there's something to give too. And I think that's maybe, I would probably sell myself short in that regard, but something's going to happen if you talk to the right people at the right time. Our experiences roll out there, and somebody can pick up from that. So it's a very good network of people. I've been tremendously rewarded, and you mentioned some of the socials or something like that, like, oh no, not a party or whatever, but like I've spoken to before, like just doing business, talking to somebody in the pool has actually done well for my business. So, yeah.
No worries. Like you said, the pool, the golf course, wherever you need to make those business meetings happen, I think there's different levels to it, but it's very rewarding.
What would be your advice for someone looking to get involved as a committee member or being involved with NIBA?
So like I said, just get involved as much as possible. If you do want to be on a committee, you can contact the NIBA staff or feel free to reach out to me. Probably reach me on LinkedIn or maybe my contact in the show notes. But yeah, we're always looking for people to volunteer. It is a volunteer organization, and the more that we all put into it, the better off the organization and the industry is. So we're working on a lot of really neat new initiatives. We just launched the NIBA MBA program this year, which was a sold out MBA class, about 10-week program, teaching you all the things that if you didn't go to your, business school, it'll teach you a lot of things that you need to know. So really cool stuff there. We're going to come up with a sales training program as well, and a lot of other just giving back type features. We're vetting a couple of companies now to help us with some new initiatives to bring more value back to the memberships. So I would tell everybody, it's more than a convention once a year. NIBA is 24/7, 365, just like our industry is. So you can always find resources online. There's always ways to get involved. We're really pushing the NIBA Young Leaders, which is formerly known as Next Gen, but
Okay.
We've rebranded to Young Leaders, and it's 45 and under now because there are less and less young leaders out there in the industry. So yeah, if you want to get involved, reach out to myself or the NIBA staff, or I'd be happy to put you in touch with the right people.
Thank you for putting that out there. That's awesome. I also learned that you were featured in Rubber News, Women Breaking the Mold, the class of 2023. What's that mean to you?
Oh, it's humbling and exhilarating at the same time. So I'm going to come up with a word for that smashes the two together. Humzilarating or something like that. That might be it. That might just stick.
Can I use that? I love that.
You get humzilarating, yeah. I never expected to I don't know what the word is. To be involved with it, to make the short list, let alone the one of the awardees. I wasn't able to make it to their award ceremony last year, but just this is such a big industry, right? And putting the focus on women in the industry more and more. Just again, it's not about women or men or anything in between. It's really about just getting more and more people involved.
Yeah.
So the more that you can shed light on next generation, young leaders, women, whatever it is to get more people involved, I think that's the key to helping our industry grow. It's an industry that this country and the world needs day in and day out. Like you said, no matter what it is that you're holding or doing or using has used or needed a conveyor belt in its life, 4 or 5 times before you got to it. So furthering what we do and just furthering the industry, that's kind of the point in getting involved. And, you see Davis Industrial wins a lot of awards out there. And, somebody, Rich Holderman, actually happened, I think it was Rich, that threw my name in for Rubber News last year. So just honored to be a part of that whole group of women that are doing things in the rubber industry, from, tires to conveyors. It's all a part of it.
Good for you. You're a strong ambassador for our industry, and I think that's got to be rewarding.
It is. It is.
Good. Well, and male or female, I know I've spoken to this point before, and of it being kind of known for it being an old boys industry back in the day, but there have been so many women that have been in this industry that have made their mark or grown us to levels that we couldn't have achieved before. And it doesn't matter of their sex. I think it's fantastic that they're getting the representation. It's long overdue, but I look at it as just shining the light, because it's always been there, and it is growing, and I think that's only going to better us. So my hat's off to you. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. It's all about making the industry sexy. So whether it's man, woman, or indifferent, it's just furthering what we do.
Heck yeah. Okay, enough belt talk. What is fun when you are not working? What's Stephenie like to do when she is not pimping belt?
What is not working mean? No, just kidding.
When you put the phone down.
When you put the phone down. My husband and I really like to travel. That is kind of one of our travel and eat. That's kind of the go-to move. When we're home and not able to travel, we're here spending time with our dogs. We don't have kids. We have fur babies. So spending time with the dogs. But, we're Floridians. So, of course, we're boaters. He loves to go fishing. But we're of a sandbar, let's go grab lunch on the boat kind of person.
I'm there, too.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go check out the new tiki bar, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, travel. We went to Iceland in 2019, which was an amazing experience. If you get the opportunity, I highly recommend it.
Wow. No, I haven't been. I got to get these darn kids out of the way so I get my travels in. But thank God for NIBA to at least get me to some cities and things that I've never seen or been to. So I can appreciate that. Yeah.
Take your kids to Iceland. It's they all speak English, so you don't have to learn a new language.
Okay.
They all speak like 3 languages because they have to in school. So it's really easy to get around. Beautiful sightseeing, good stuff for kids, adults of any age. So we went snowmobiling on a glacier and glacier hiking and just all sorts of different activities. So.
Oh, that's awesome. What's something not a lot of people know about you?
Oh boy.
You gotta let it out on this.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of an open book. I was trying to think about what question you were going to ask me to.
Oh, it's still coming. Don't worry.
Your random. Oh, this is not the random question.
This is not the random question. This is turning you upside down, seeing what falls out.
Yeah.
Hey, you may not have an answer for it. If you're an open book, that's fine.
I'm kind of an open book. I grew up overseas mostly. My dad was in the military, so Japan, Okinawa, Bahrain. I don't know. I was in high school. My parents moved away back to Japan, left me here in Florida.
Wow.
Skipped my senior year of high school, went to college early, left high school, started a business. I don't know if that's new news, but maybe somebody doesn't.
Well, it's important news. It can't always be, I have to have the volume on even numbers only or something like that. Those are OCD things. But and you don't have to let those cats out of the bag. I do have to have my volume on even numbers. It's weird. But.
Is it? Okay. Well, to each his own. To each his own.
You never know. You never know what people are going to do. Okay, here it is. This one I found I thought was kind of clever. We'll see how clever it is because some of these fall flat. But if you could hang out with a fictional character, who would it be?
Ooh, fictional character. Oh, man, that's a tough one.
I was going to talk about bands and band people, but some of those can be a little too crazy, But I figured.
I don't know. You said fictional person. Like, for some reason, my mind went immediately to cartoons. Why did that happen?
And that, when I looked this up, they were mentioning cartoons. Who would be your favorite cartoon character to hang out with or something? So you can take it to that vein. Why not?
Yeah. And then my mind just went completely blank of all the cartoon characters in the world. I don't know. Like, maybe like the Incredibles, like the whole family, because they all have weird superpowers.
Yeah. That'd be fun, wouldn't it?
I mean, why not?
Well, you wouldn't be at a loss for getting something accomplished around those people, so it makes sense. Yeah. I like that because I love Pixar. Heck, yeah.
Right.
Now you're going to come up with the answer afterwards. I should have said this.
Absolutely. I'm going to email you and tell you exactly who it is once I have a moment to think about it.
I changed my mind. I wanted to be in the Millennium Falcon with Han Solo. My bad,
Right? So. Yeah, absolutely.
Stephenie, thank you.
What about you? No,
me?
We're not done yet. What about you? You can't ask that question without replying. You had time to think about it.
I did. I'm a big Star Wars nerd. So, to me, I would probably want to be hanging out in the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon. I mean, heck, I did at Disneyland this summer. So to grab that, the lever to pull back and then go into hyperdrive and have everything just come rocketing back at you is pretty cool. So if I was listening to Chewie go, "Grrr," behind me and Han piloting the darn thing, I think that would be exhilarating. That would be a lot of fun and sure a lot of slapstick comedy, which I love things like that. So I love keeping levity alive. So I'm sure there would be no shortage in that company.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're all about fighting bad guys and saving the world, I guess.
Heck yeah. There we go.
There
Same
you go.
vein. Yeah, okay. Look at that. We became belt friends today,
that.
Stephenie.
Yes, we did.
Thank you. Thank you for joining me today. This has been rewarding. I was excited to find out how this all happened for you, and if anything sold a perfect person for our industry on how cool this is, just a taste in doing sales in it to where you are now. That's amazing. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate being involved, and hopefully those that are not in the industry that have heard this, maybe they want to check it out.
Yeah.
It's a good place to be.
Heck yeah. Well, with that, I haven't kept track of the time, but I'm sure we killed a perfectly good hour.
Probably so.
Yeah. Thanks again. I'd like to thank George with New Wave Studios and Stephenie and her company, Davis Industries, for lending your time to me today. And until next time, you guys take care. Thanks so much.
Thank you. See you soon.